Well, hello. Back once again with you on this thing of ours twice daily, 9 a.m. in the morning, 8 p.m. in the evening, starting off a little bit late this evening. Greetings to friends, one and all, joining us from Periscope, Twitch, DLive for the live version of this thing of ours. Those of you tuning in on YouTube after the fact, commiserations. I shall be joining you in the live chat. Come say hello. We'll have a little conversation in there. Good morning, or good morning, good afternoon. Michael John Dennis joining us over on Periscope as the room fills up. Yes, keep going about your daily machinations. Keep doing what you do while I touch in with you. No, Bruce Scott, Dr. Bruce Scott joining us tonight. We had prearranged. I'd forgotten, and he will be back with us in 3 weeks' time, as he is currently radicalizing all of our friends over in Scotland at the moment by, being the truth extremist and bringing the truth to him. Good evening, Silmiata. Great for you. Thank you for your company here this evening. We wait for the ticker tape to present all the comments over here on StreamYard. I only really have one article that I want to bring to your attention. I want to break away from the distraction that's going on in and around the world as all eyes are focused in on the presidential run. It's happening. I believe latest news that Michigan, because of its computer glitch, has now returned the missing votes to President Trump, and indeed Michigan has gone red and turned. I expect Arizona to follow suit, thereby giving us a clear indication so far that President Trump is on course. I believe when the litigation and the lawsuits start in earnest and the evidence is produced for voter fraud and voter interference, that we will begin to see the first ebbs and flows of the salt mining that I keep speaking to you about. I have my Twitter thread here up on display. On display here, and I want to just touch in with you. I'm just looking at a tweet here from Anna Breeze, who's doing sterling work over there as well. Look, we all have our slights against individuals because of their perceived attachment to their previous employment and stuff like that. I've seen enough from Anna that she's doing great work over there as well. They had names. Great to see you. Thank you. They had names for coming over. I do believe you have a Torino t-shirt on as well. They had names. Thank you very much for your support. I can see that in your avatar. And Steve O'Kane joining us over on Twitch. Twitch. Let me pop over here just to let you view what I'm viewing here on the Twitter feed. We can see over in Stroud in Gloucestershire as the police are escorting people away. I'm not going to play the audio and stuff like that. But this brave lady is now being removed from the protest, rally, gathering, whatever it is, picking this woman out from a crowd that seems to be protesting. She is shouting her disconcern, and again, they're moving through the crowd now, picking off people one by one and removing them. Photographers, great to see people out protesting. But again, to those of us viewing here in the Republic of Ireland, that's where it's going to have to go. That's where it's going to have to happen. Good people on the streets. Digby123, how are you, sir? Great to see you. Great to have your company. Thanks for joining us. I want to touch in first on some criticism from Bo in the comment section of this morning's broadcast. While I do appreciate the constructive criticism, this is just my thing. This is just the way we do our thing. You're more than welcome to unsubscribe and move on. I do appreciate the constructive criticism. But again, I encourage you to start. You have your own YouTube platform. Start broadcasting. Start disseminating the truth. And start reacting to constructive criticism. I thank you for your support and your long subscription to the channel. And long may it continue. But like I say, not everyone can be pleased. G'day, Susie Kiltard. Thank you. Thank you very much. And Stargirl D joining us all the way from California in the height of it. And Nikki, the room filling up there, 1916. Great to see everybody. I'm going to keep this short, brief. I only have the one article, which I did line up, and I have lined up here, but I'll show you what I mean. Let me pop over here. Let me pop it up before. So I seen this article that from Vienna in response to, you remember we had the incident in Vienna earlier on, and this article came to my attention. And as I was lining up the show this evening, I went to pull it all up so that I have it ready for everybody to see. And hey ho, this is the response I got. Seems that the Gulag does not want me to read out this article. But luckily enough, I've kept it on my phone. I archived it. So I'm going to read you the article in its entirety, although I'm not going to be able to show you the script. Great to see you, Ragnar, over there. Okay. First of all, also, I'd like to play you this audio. I'd like you to play this audio. I know many of you would have heard of it, but in relation to the mainstream media calling the president of the United States and determining who the people of America has voted for, and now screaming and postulating that they are the purveyors of all of truth. This carries on in all regions around the world. Mainstream media, they are losing their grip on the narrative. We here and many other platforms are smashing through and are breaking down that narrative, and they are clinging desperately to remain relevant. Your days are numbered. You are already a dying edifice. And how do I know that? Because you depend on the government for your subsistence. You can no longer compete in the free market because people aren't buying the shit that you're selling, and they are looking elsewhere. Not only to me, to other accounts, to other investigative journalists, proper investigative journalists, those without fear, those that will challenge and bring and speak truth to power. Your days are numbered. That is not to say that all investigative journalists are in the same pot. I know there are many great independents. I all look towards, and I will give them props to the Burkean broadcast. They seem impartial. I don't care not about where they come from and who they are or what they believe in. I do know that they do honest journalism and honest reporting. And there are other great platforms out there as well that I haven't got around to mentioning. But for those of you in the redundant, treacherous echo chamber, those of you on an exorbitant pay packet, not only the stars, the talent that brings it all in, and I'm talking about all of you that live in your little cozy community up there in Donnybrook with your yoga classes, your hairdressers, your own little communities, that you don't have to abide by the restrictions that the rest of us in the country have to abide by because you live in a bubble. And how do I know that? Because I want to play you this audio. I'm sure you've all heard of it before, friends, but for those of our guests tuning in and those that I recently converted and asked them to tune in to the broadcast and to be looking over and listening to us, let's have a little listen to this. This is mainstream media in action. If you haven't seen the video, you're about to hear the audio.
Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities, the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about trouble and irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first. Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias.
You get the picture. You can see all the talking heads going through their talking points that they've been issued about. This happens here, but because we're such a small island, there are only one or two news articles. Quality, balanced journalism. Absolutely, they had names. Same batshit crazy. Oh, super stuff. Let me bring some of your comments in there so that the YouTubers can see where it's happening, where the real action is happening over there on Periscope. Let me bring that up. Will that come up? And it's not showing yet. It's showing up over on yours. Change the brand. Change the brand, DT, make it a little bit bigger. There you go. There you go. Quality balanced journalism. Yes, absolutely. Look at that beautiful terrain. If you haven't gone over to the Grand Torino website, World Wide Web, grandtorino.ie, there is a link to the t-shirt merchandise store. We really do appreciate your support. And thank you for that. Thank you for that. They had names for your support over there. Right, let's get down to the brass tacks. Like I said, I want to keep these broadcasts nice and short and sweet till we reconfigure the format going forward. I miss the live streams as much as you do. And again, great place for community, great place for us all to come and speak and have that communal conversation with each other and just check in. Big shout out to Rogue Z, big shout out to Nikki, big shout out to Susie, big shout out to Steve O'Kane, big shout out to Ragnar, probably sitting in there with us in the live chat, Jenny O'Driscoll, Kelly, all the great names, Maureen, Muirin, and those that I forget. I have not forgotten you. I just don't have you there in front of me. But again, I appreciate all of you sitting in live chat, joining us after the fact. But the live show happens previously, just to reiterate the point. Those of you watching here now on YouTube, you are looking at the pre-recorded version. This is the live version for us here on Twitch, D-Live, and Periscope. Come over and say hello. We kick off about 8 o'clock, and then we re-upload to YouTube about 9 o'clock. Nothing else to bring to your attention. As I said, the article that I went to go search for had a 404 page not found, but like I said, I did have it, and I do have it archived. So I'm going to read you the story in its entirety. It's in relation to events over in Vienna and the Austrian police. I'll leave that one up there for now. So the article that I'm reading from now is the one that Gulag has determined I'm not allowed to read to you. So Austrian police raid Muslim Brotherhood Hamas-linked targets. Authorities searched dozens of homes across Austria and questioned people without suspected ties to the Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas. Officials said the raids had, quote, no connection with the recent deadly attack in Vienna. Let me just drop that down a sec. Austrian police carried out sweeping raids on Monday, targeting dozens of people with suspected ties to terrorist and criminal organizations. Prosecutors in the Styria region said they were investigating over 70 people and had several associations that are suspected of belonging to and supporting the terrorist Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas organizations. The other alleged offences include forming a terrorist organization, financing terrorism, and money laundering, according to the prosecutor's statement. Officials said the operation has no connection to the November 2nd terror attack in Vienna, but was rather the result of a year-long terrorism probe. 4 people were killed in a shooting rampage earlier this month in the heart of the Austrian capital, with officials saying the gunman was a supporter of the militant, quote, Islamic State group. The raids were carried out in Vienna and the provinces of Styria, Carthinia, and Lower Austria. Some 30 suspects were also questioned. The results of the year-long terrorism probe have so far revealed that, quote, the Muslim Brotherhood is a globally active, radical Islamist, extremely anti-Semitic organization, the prosecutor said. They are also charged the Muslim Brotherhood with trying to, quote, set up an Islamic state on the basis of Islamic law in all countries on earth, and for maintaining ties to, quote, terrorist organizations such as Hamas. Who did the President Higgins recently entertain here last year, and who was fawning over him? Well, the rest of the politicians fawned over them as well, as they have been described by the news article here as international terrorist groups. Austrian leader Minister Karl Nehammer said the raids were not targeting the country's Muslim community, but sought to, quote, protect them. The Muslim Brotherhood is outlawed in Egypt, the country where it was originally founded. Hamas, an extremist organization with de facto control of the Gaza Strip, is classed as a terrorist organization by the European Union, no less. And the Austrian leader, Interior Minister Karl Nehammer said that the police operations sought to combat, quote, the breeding ground of extremism. We are acting against these criminal, extremist and inhumane organizations with all our strength, Nehammer said in a statement. He emphasized that the investigation and raids were not targeted at Muslims or Islam as a religious community. On the contrary, these measures are also intended to protect Muslims whose religion is abused for the purpose of an ideology hostile to the Constitution, it said. Also on Monday, the Austrian government confirmed reports that the suspect in last week's deadly rampage in Vienna met with radical Islamists from abroad this summer. The 20-year-old shooter who was shot dead by Austrian police met with police from people with Germany who were under observation by the German intelligence agencies. 2 men were arrested over the weekend in Switzerland, also met with the suspect in Vienna this summer. The shooting last Monday, which also wounded 20 people, was the first major attack to hit Austria in decades. A 20-year-old gunman identified as a dual Austrian-Macedonian national was convicted last year of attempting to travel to Syria to join IS. Nothing to do with what's going on over here. I grant you, I understand. But important to bring it to you because the article names who it believes are one of the main organizers of trying to bring in an Islamic State all around the world. I'm speaking here from a perspective from the Republic of Ireland in this position where the MB sits openly in a region here in Dublin and is, how shall I say, spoken about very kindly about leading politicians over here who bring them in and out. But we also have political leaders from Hamas ingratiate themselves here with our very own president who treats them like royalty. I would say, and hopefully when President Trump starts his next second term, that the already designated terrorist organizations should be outlawed from this country and all ties and all peoples should be deported that have any ties with anything to do with the Muslim Brood over here. But they are spoken about in such kind terms here in the Republic of Ireland that this is, in essence, an or destination for them. They come here to receive medical treatment because they can walk the streets unaffected, unchallenged. That is my belief on that. Anyway, so like I said, a short, brief broadcast for you tonight. Just the one article. I think it's, and with everything that's going on across the water, I thought I'd have a little bit of a palate cleanser for you, and we'd switch our attention back to global terrorism. You know, this is the crazy times that we live in, that we have to go to global terrorism for a palate cleanser. But this is the world that we live in. This is the way it is. No news to report back here. I was going to. There is talk of this effective injection that's 90% proof positive and is being lauded now as, you know, the answer, the cure. But they just didn't want to give President Trump. You would be absolutely bonkers, and I mean bonkers, to want to go and stick that injection in with you when even at its experimental stage, being tested on volunteers, many of whom we know, some have passed away, some have life-altering conditions from the trial, and I commend their bravery for stepping up. But I don't think it was a mission that would have any great value because you knew what you were getting into. This thing is being warp speed and is being trialed on humans and is being globally rolled out. We're all being distracted from this now. But some of the evidence that's coming out, shall we say, or some of the discussion that's coming out on the efficacy of what's being pushed out is very, very questionable and highly questionable. But we do not get that chance to have that on the national broadcaster. Like many other things, this is going to be pushed out and be seen to be the answer to all your ills. I remind you earlier on of the conversation that I had with the 2 elderly ladies earlier on. One of them said that she was just hanging on for the vaccination. Yeah, absolutely, Steve O'Kane. That she was hanging on for the vaccination because she is so completely embedded in RTE's lies and the propaganda that it is seen as the viable answer and will not even do a basic inquiry. All the information that you need to know about anything is at your fingertips. All you have to do is go question it and go and inquire. You have this, as much as it is tracking and tracing it, there is a whole library there that you can go and check out and see if the 90% risk factor is worth for this supposed return to normal. It ain't going to happen, people. Not without a long long, protracted war. Now, I mean a war of minds for now. I mean a war metaphorically as it stands now, but going forward, as this encroach is getting further and further, as we can see, particularly in of our friends over in the United Kingdom who are being terrorized by the state. They can no longer stand in any location in their home country without being challenged by the police, Stasi, the Stasi coming up and asking you, obviously for your name, but asking you why you were standing here, why you were here, a reasonable excuse just to stand in your reason. And if you don't answer them, you are open up to and including £4,000 in a fine, which would utterly decimate most people. I'd say the vast majority of people who are issued with a fine with that would be destroyed financially. Most people, and I say the majority of people, live week to week, paycheck to paycheck. Particularly those new influxes that have come into the country. They would be destroyed by such a fine. And then to top it off, Ireland is following suit. So whatever you see happening in the United Kingdom, brace yourself. A month or two down the line, our gobshites in there are going to bring that in, and they are going to push really hard because they have the new they have the new gender equality Minister for Justice who's in there now smirking and laughing and relishes the thought of bringing up the new hate speech legislation. Hate speech for thee, but not for me. That hate speech law will utterly destroy not even supposed right-wingers. Those of you on the left, those of you socialists, those of you that are still bought into the establishment main line, it's coming for you. It may not affect you in the immediacy, but sooner or later, that slow crawl will reach you and destroy you and yours. Fight it now. Like events happening over in the United States, even the Democrats should be screaming for the transparency to officiate their supposed electoral win. Surely any party that had nothing to hide would want the voter recount. There's nothing in the Constitution, and bear this in mind, there is nothing in the Constitution that this whole election gets scrapped and it gets redone again with all observers, with the military probably at voting booths to watch. That would be long and interesting, and that would happen relatively soon. We've seen the first of the lawsuits being pushed in towards Pennsylvania and all the rest. I'm having a cheeky whiskey. Yeah, every night's a good night for a cheeky whiskey. Get it into you. Get it into you, Cynthia. I won't berate you for having a tabble of whiskey. One of my favourite brews, I might add. So before I broke off my rant there as well, which I am oft wont to do, I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. Please take a deep breath. Do not be distracted by what's happening in events in the United States. There's a process to be played out. It's going to happen over the next 4 or 5 weeks. Susie, I couldn't agree with you more. And it's not only that I'm embarrassed. I get that. I am a little bit embarrassed, but I'm heartbroken at the same time for their lack of inquiry, for their lack of rational thought, for their complete susceptibility to the propaganda that's being forced and pushed upon them. I relish each and every figurehead, talking head, from bitch-faced Matt Cooper to each and every one of them that's waving their flags and popping off their celebratory fireworks. What is that picture there? Where was the good people that were out? I'll be using that for the thumbnail when I upload. Ballina, like the flagrant abuse of the COVID restrictions up in Ballina as everybody comes out and celebrates. No police follow-up. That's okay, because Hey 19 doesn't affect Black Lives Matter, and it doesn't affect people that are celebrating Joe Biden's presumptuous election to the presidency of the United States. The presumptive candidate, as I believe, gone and done and shot his load far too early. Got too excited. Couldn't help himself. I'm sorry. I know that's a little bit guttural, but it's just the first thing that pops in my mind. But it is going to be glorious. People, just sit back and relax. If you're quaffing a brandy or indeed a whiskey, sip on it gently. Savor the bouquet. Savor the moment. In time, you will be drinking salty tears, and there will be waterfalls of tears. You thought you'd seen the two ladies in 2016. I firmly believe you're going to see the conclusion of that. No! And then the head explodes. That should be it. Elmer Fudd, Susie. No, that's Wolf. I'm a hunting wabbits. Okay, so like I'm not going to mince around because I got a proper telling off by Bo, one of the comment sections, for just mincing around. I just wanted to bring this to your attention because most people probably wouldn't even have heard of the Muslim Brotherhood, but they are treated like royalty over here in the Republic of Ireland. Why? I don't know. They should be repatriated was one of the words. Absolutely. Outlawed. But that goes without saying. We can't have that here in the Republic of Ireland because we're importing a new voter bloc. We're bringing in the working classes replacements right in front of their very eyes. But it's done on humanitarian grounds because, you know, these poor people, 90% of these poor people are told to go home. But because we can't take the handcuffs out of the pocket, they're allowed to stay here. And then they just sort of insert themselves into the welfare state. And before you know it, they're given free houses. While many of our own just like rotting on the streets. But I'm not going to repeat that. I'm not going to keep going over it. Yeah, we all know exactly, Steve O'Kane. That's exactly what needs to happen. But you can't speak like that. You can't have that debate or that conversation because you are nasty bad man. Nasty bad man. You hurt my fifis. You tell my new friends who are come over to clean my garage, to clean my car, to do the jobs that possibly Irish teenagers. I was speaking to a young man earlier on who's living as far away as the UAE because him and his age group, 26 to 36, have all left the country because there was no employment here. But they can't come back because they've all been replaced. Shazam! How are they ever supposed to come back? We should be incentivizing them to come back. We should be incentivizing to have their families here. And families here should be incentivized to have more and more families, more and more children. And they should be a relief on the tax board. But how is that ever going to play out now with this global reset on the way? Well, I say, screw your global reset. Let's just have an Irish reset. Let's set up a new trade agreement with the United States, with the incumbent president remaining in place. Plenty of Eastern European blocs that we could do trade facilities with that are removing themselves from the entity that is the dying European experiment that should be completely disbanded. And let's have an international cooperation of nation states. The way it was always designed. This was only ever supposed to be a trading bloc. And look where we are now. And if you don't think, and if you think that it's a good thing that a voter fraud is happening and that the news articles have said, oh, Biden's the president, and that's just it. Now everybody stop. The news has called it. Biden's the president and nasty orange man has to go away. No, he doesn't. Oh, no, he doesn't. We have to follow the rule of law. And that's what we want here and also in this country, the application of a proper rule of law that will be enforced. I agree with you, Intelligent Monkey. Italy, well, no, I disagree, actually. Speaking to my Italian friends as well, my Italian friends want to renovate springs to mind, but they want to change the European Brussels. They want a coalition or a coalition of independent European states, but they want to keep the European Union in itself. I know, I agree, it should be dismantled. Totally dismantled. But that's it. Enough waffling from me. No sound effects for tonight. Those of you joining me over here on live chat and Periscope and D-Live, thank you very much for your company. I'm going to sign off early. No stream in the morning. I'll see you tomorrow evening. Should have a guest with me tomorrow evening, all things going well. We will be streaming live at 8 p.m. over here on Periscope, D-Live and Twitch. Please do come and join us for the live version of this thing of ours. Or you can alternatively sit back and if it's still there, join us on YouTube. But before I let you go, and as I always do, and as I encourage you, please, well, if you're over on YouTube, smash that like button, hit the subscription button. You know you want to. Also the little bell, and you'll be reminded of future broadcasts here in the Grand Torino. Please, if you would, please leave your thoughts, comments, and witticisms in the comment section down below, like our good friend Bo did. I'm sorry I wasn't much help in my reply, but that's just the way it is. This is this thing of ours. I come on, I waffle, I mess, I make a few noise, I bang a few drums. People tend to listen, and then they push it on and share it on their own platforms. Appreciate the love. Please, as you know, we are demonetized, but we are not demoralized. I'm hanging on to that catchphrase. You're going to hear that a lot. Thank you to each and every one of you supporting the Grand Torino over on the Grand Torino website, World Wide Web, grandtorino.ie, and also for you using the links over on YouTube and all the alternative platforms and how you can support the show. Keep them coming. If you would, if you could. And like I said to you, for the birthday cards, Susie Q, Nikki, Karen Burns over in New Jersey. Stargirl D, thank you very much for your birthday cards and for your lovely notes. It was very much appreciated. And for everybody else that sent over your cards and warm wishes, really appreciate that. It came at a lovely time and a lovely moment as family members of this thing of ours reached out and sent on a card. Appreciate all the love and support. You guys are nuts. Like I'm telling you, you guys are nuts, but I love you. I love each and every freaking one of you. All 26,500 of you. We've been parked there for a long time. A lot of people noticing that it doesn't go up. It just goes up and then it goes down. But we will keep going forward while we still have these platforms available to us. Okay, stop the waffle and GT. Let everybody get on about their day. And I've hit the 30-minute mark as I intended to do. And also, please don't forget our good friends, the littlepharma.ie. We love our enzymes so much. We keep them alive. Wheatgrass and barley grass juice full of antioxidants. 1 wheatgrass shot is equivalent to 1 kilogram of your leafy green veg. And the barley grass juice is full of antioxidants. Just shake and shoot. Thank you to each and every one of you supporting our good friends over there. Don't forget, if you go to the online website, don't forget to enter in your promo code GT and you will be given a discount over there. Shout out to our long-term friend, James Connolly. What? James Connolly was a nationalist. I am Irish and I am for Ireland and its people. Nationalists jumping in at the background there. Okay, folks, this is the long-winded way of me signing off and saying goodnight. See you tomorrow evening, hopefully with a guest. If not, we'll continue this thing of ours for the foreseeable future. Keep rolling forward. Look out yourselves. Have a great night. Puss.